ni da ba ma ga ri ga ri. Takajam takadam takarum takani ni da ba ma ga ri ga ri. Ri ma pa da ni tam tadingi na tum. Ri ma ma pa ri ma pa da ni ma pa da ni sa. Tam tadingi na tum tadingi na tum. Ri ma pa da ni ri ma pa da ni sa pa da ni sa ni. Da ni da ni da ni da ni da ba ma ga ri. Ri ma pa da ni sa pa da ni sa ri ma.
Namaskaram. Such a pleasure to meet you here through this medium. The theory of dance, understanding, analyzing, interpreting texts is as important as training to be a practitioner. Through this series, Scholars Speak, we present brilliant young scholars who will be sharing with us their areas of specialization and research. We know this will be invaluable for all of us. I know that this will be an inspiration to young students of dance. After all, the theory of dance is as important as the practice itself, isn't it? We hope you enjoy. Thank you. We are delighted and honored to have as our first guest in this Scholars Speak series, Dr. Gayatri Kannan. Dr. Gayatri Kannan is a brilliant young scholar, a beautiful practitioner, a teacher, a choreographer who has been trained by none other than one of the greatest artists of all times, Dr. Padma Subramaniam. She will be speaking about her area of research. There is a separate segment which has the question and answer segment as a separate video. Do watch that also. Hope you enjoy. We're sure this will be an inspiration to all young artists. Do subscribe and watch so that we can reach as many people as possible. Thank you.
Namaste. I'm Dr. Gayatri Kannan. I'm very happy to be here for Srimati Priyadarshini Govind Akka for the Scholars Speak series conducted by Navadarshana, which is being spearheaded by Srimati Priyadarshini Govind. I'm thankful to her for having invited me to speak here. I would like to speak on Dhruva Gana from Natya Shastra. As many of you will be aware, Natya Shastra is the earliest extant literature on dramaturgy written by Bharata Muni, which is available to us now. There have been works even before the Natya Shastra, but the earliest that is available is this work. And this has 36 chapters in which Bharata deals with a variety of topics, everything dealing with theatre art, like music, dance, drama as a whole, meter, poetics, and so on. So from the 28th to 34th chapter, he speaks on music. And this music is not exactly what we now hear as Carnatic music. There are quite a few differences in the way Bharata has explained the music of those times. Like now we have an Adharish Sajja when we sing. Like in, you have the Anjakata Shruti, Nalrakata Shruti, where the Sajja remains the same. So that Adhara Sajja doesn't seem to have been present during Bharata's time. This needs a lot of research, and Dr. Premlata Sharma has done a lot of research on this. My work that I did for the Ministry of Culture Junior Fellowship was on Dhruva Gana. This is a set of songs which have been explained by Bharata, supposed to be sung during the play proper. Now we need to understand that during Bharata's time, Natya meant drama as a whole and not just dance or music alone. So it included a lot of aspects which were put together to bring one drama. So this is what Natya was. And Dhruva Gana, they were a set of songs which are so to be sung during different periods in an entire drama. So Chapter 32 of the Natya Shastra deals with this. Bharata says a dhruva can be defined as that song in which pada, that is words, varna, which are vowel extensions, alankara, which are a group of swaras sung in different permutations and combinations, yati, which can be taken as tempo, and pani, which refers to the tala. When all these are put together, it makes one song. So here what we need to understand, which is very interesting, is the terms varna, alankara and pani. Varna is vowel extension, which we see even in today's varnam of Carnatic music. Like even if you take a padavarnam like ni in the mayam. So the words are ni in the mayam, seidal, whatever. So we don't sing it just like ni in the mayam as the words. It's like ni in the. Each vowel is extended. And this concept has been there even during Bharata's times, and that's what he mentions as Varna. And Alankara, again, in Carnatic music, when they teach the Sarali Varsa, Janta Varsa, you have the Alankarams, which are again a permutation combination of swaras in different patterns. This has again been present during Bharata's time. And Pani is very interesting because Pani is Tala, where Bharata talks about Samapani, Avapani, and Uparipani. Here Samapani is nammaloda Sama Eduppu, where we start on Sama. Avapani is Atita Eduppu, where we start before the Sama. And Uparipani is Anahata Eduppu, which comes after the Sama. So these concepts have been present and explained during Bharata's period itself. So these are very interesting, where we see that there is a continuation of that tradition to this day. And a Dhruva song is something which contains all these. So it's very important for a Sutradhara, who's generally the director of the play, and a Kavi, who writes the Nataka actually, who writes the Natya, for him to be aware of all these things when he composes music or when he composes a song or writes a drama for a Natya performance. So many things are involved for one production. There are more things that Bharata explains for the Dhruva song. I'm not getting into the whole thing because it's very vast. I would just like to speak about 5 classifications that Bharata gives, apart from so many other, which we can connect to the Nritya Natakas of today and even the films of today. Films and the Nritya Natakas, we can say, are a beautiful continuation of the tradition of Bharata's Natya. He says these dhruvas have to be based on the occasions in which they are sung. And based on this, he gives 5 classifications: Praveshiki, Akshepiki, Prasadiki, Antara, and Naishkramiki. These are the 5 dhruva songs classifications that he gives. Here, Praveshiki is a Praveshadaru which we see in many of the Nritya Natakas. It might not be seen in our Bharatanatyam or any other Deshi performances, because now it's become more of a solo performance. But even today in Bhagavata Mela, in Yakshagana, in Terukuthu, you have these Praveshadharus. That is what was the Praveshiki Dhruva during Bharata's Natya-shastric period. Here, it is sung for the entry of every main character. And here the physical features, the status, the qualities, the psychological state of the part that is portrayed, and the relevance of the character to that theme, everything is introduced in that one song. For example, in Viralimali Kuruvanji, you have the main heroine, who is the Rajamohini. The Praveshadaru is Rajamohini Asayagi Vandal. So she's in love. That's the main theme. And it describes like Pusiya Javadu Manam Vishum Yedukadam Deshika Karnataka Bagai Aduval Vinodam. So she was somebody who loved to dress herself up. She knew how to sing Deshika Karnataka Isai. So all these qualities of the Rajamohini is brought in the Praveshadaru itself. And this is what Bharata means by Praveshika Dhruva. Even now, if you see our films, none of the films are bereft of a theme song for the hero. The hero is always introduced with a song which gives all the details of that hero. So we see that to this day, that concept is still alive. And in Bhagavatamela, if you see, one thing is very interesting. They have Daru songs for the Uttama Nayikas, like say Sita, Leelavati, who's Hiranyakashipu's wife. The same Pravesha Daru is used for these two characters, only the name is changed. Because the Uttama Nayika, the characteristics are almost the same. So I believe they just changed the name and they sing the same Daru for both these characters. In Yakshagana, they don't have a Pravesha Daru, but they have a Jati. For each important character, a Jati is recited and the character enters with that Jati. So we see that Praveshika Dharu or Dhruva of Bharata seen in the Pravesha Daru of today's theatre. The next one is Akshepiki, which is a song which helps in diverting a particular situation or an emotion. Say, for example, in Shakuntalam, you have a scene where Dushyanta rejects Shakuntala, and it is all charged with emotion. And to divert that, the next scene would have a fisherman. You know the story where the fisherman is there, he catches a fish, and that which has swallowed the ring. So when they bring in the fisherman, you can bring in a folk song, you can bring in a folk dance. So the intensity of the situation is diverted and it is made a little more light. This is called as Akshepiki, and even to this day, if you see, especially in films, you have a parallel comedy track which keeps on running. It might not have any relevance to the film at all or to the subject, mostly. But that gives a relief to the entire storyline, especially when it is a long film like 2.5 hours, or in those days or to this day, Bhagavatamela Nataka goes on for the entire night. So this Akshepika Dhruva helps in lightening the mood of the audience. The next one is Prasadiki. This is again to calm down, to soothe in the audience when the situation is a little grouse, like say a disgusting scene or a scene with a lot of battle, which is very fierce. So again, the Prasadiki Dhruva helps in soothing, the calm. A calm is brought back with in the audience with this song. This is Prasadiki Dhruva. And then you have the Antara Dhruva, which is a transitional song. See, we must understand that a drama goes on for the entire night. So not only the audience, the actor will also be tired. He might be, because of performing continuously, he might feel sleepy, he might be irritable, or sometimes he might do a mistake which he might want to correct, or a mistake that somebody has done in the on the stage and he might want to make it all right. So for all these, you have something called Antara Dhruva, which helps in diverting the attention, and it gives a little break for the actor also. And my guru, Dr. Padma Subramaniam, she feels that even in our Jatiswaram, in our Tillana, we walk back, then we do the Addami. That gives a little rest for us, especially in Jatiswaram, Varnam, after Jati, in Tillana, where the Nritta piece is continuous. So it gives a little break for us to take a breather and then start dancing. So this is called as Antara Dhruva. And finally, we have the Naishkramiki Dhruva, which is for the exit of a main character. This we don't see much in today's Nritya Natakas, except like in Bhagavatamela Nataka, you have what is called as Sandhi Vachana. This is when the main character exits, they just say, Digitaka Dinginnato. That's how they finish the scene. That means that scene is over, the character has exited. So this is called as Sandhi Vachana. And this is what is mentioned by Bharata as Naishkramiki Dhruva. So we see how Bharata's Dhruva Gana has come to this day as the Darus. Of course, it has the connotation, the format has changed a lot, but we still have traces of those Dhruva Gana in today's Nritya Natakas. And Apart from all these, Bharata talks about Dhruva Ganas for different time of the play, like whether it is night time or whether it is whether the play is happening in the daytime. For each Dhruva, he gives a different the way in which it has to be sung, what has to be sung. It is a very vast chapter. And apart from this, in this same chapter, he talks about qualities of a singer, qualities of the orchestra members, a teacher, a student. Everything has been dealt with Bharata. I've just given a peep into what this chapter is all about. And thank you so much again, Priyaka, for giving me this platform to explain about a little of the work I've done. Thank you.